So if you're working on a technical business, you're going to have to work with developers. But there are some tips that can help you get the most out of your development team. So the first thing is to make sure to plan ahead. You need to build the structure of something before you can decide what kind of design is going to go on top of that structure. Your wireframes are your blueprints. They tell everybody what you want the product to do and how it should ideally function. Then your developers can go ahead and tell you whether or not the things that you want to happen are technically feasible. Once you've developed something that works, then you can put whatever kind of design you want on top of it. It can feel any one of a number of ways, and that's really important. But what's more important is making sure that it works properly and that it was planned out properly so that you can avoid discovering all kinds of problems and issues once something has been designed. It's really important to start at step 1 and go from there to step 10, not to start at 10 and go to 1. As a non-technical person, it's really easy to think about the design, the logo, the name, all kinds of things that can really be put on top of any product. Another thing is to seek out diamonds in the rough. You'll hear all over the place that developers are hard to find and that developer talent is lacking, particularly in certain geographical areas. There are a lot of people who can develop out there, and there's a lot of, if you give somebody an assignment, they can create the product that you want exactly how you've laid it out. But there's not a lot of people who will add their own creative input and who will take what you've suggested they do and tell you how to make it better, tell you about things that you haven't thought about, tell you about the ways that it can go wrong and the ways that it needs to be stress tested and the ways that it needs to be expanded for later. I've had experiences where somebody built a product the exact way that I asked them to, but they didn't make it scalable. They only made it so it would function with the number of people who'd be using it today. They weren't thinking about 5 years in the future. The best developer is the one who says, here's how I can build it for today, but here's also how I've designed it so that 5 years in the future and 10,000 customers later, it's still going to be working for you, and it's going to be adaptable, and it's going to be something that's going to stay with you throughout the duration of your business. Finally, keep in mind that location doesn't matter. There are certain areas of the country where people say there's a huge brain drain. The developers are trained and then they leave to go to the hot spots, like Silicon Valley. It doesn't matter where your developer is located. The best person to work on your project might be halfway around the world, and as long as you can communicate with them regularly, you're on the same page, and they do fantastic work, it doesn't matter. You can make it work from anywhere. It's more important that you're the right people to be working together and that you all have the same enthusiasm for the product that you're working on. With that, you can make it work. When you're creating a tech product, you're going to have to work with developers. That relationship is incredibly important to the success of your business. Just remember to work with the right people, make sure that they care as much about the product as you do, and that you're going about things in the right way and that you understand as best you can the work that they do, how it should be done, and how really it's an art. It's not just a science, it is an art. And that the person who will develop your product the best is the person who does it with finesse and who brings their own creative spirit to the table and goes above and beyond the nuts and bolts of what you need put together.